I was as a young student, I was living in Sutton, in Surrey, in England. And what I saw boggled the mind when at Christmas time, I saw a gentleman stand outside of a bank, and he had collected some pieces of, hang on a second, let me get rid of this thing here.
No, you're on air.
He had collected some pieces of flowers that he picked up on the street. And in these pieces of flowers that he picked up on the street, he attached a bow to them and was selling them at quite a nice price. And he was making a killing on these so-called Christmas flowers, he called them. And people were buying them indiscriminately just because, quote, it was Christmas time. Just like the guy who made millions on pet rocks, which was done around the same time, back in the 60s. So that this time, Christmas is a time of exploiting people for the benefit of a select few who, after Christmas time, they shut down business for the rest of the year because they've made all they need to make.
Yes, you see, because it has been commercialized. You know, right. where there is a demand, well, then the businessman is going to make a killing, because if there's a demand, then there will obviously be a market. You see, and if people really want this thing, you will afford the market where they can come and purchase it. So that has taken over what the Christmas spirit is. And I am still to see, as I said a little earlier on, the religious group that decides on Christmas Day we are going to have a prayer and fasting service.
I
will look forward to that.
I'll tell you what, if people, and if one Christmas morning people got up and suddenly, instead of doing all the things that people normally do, and they went door to door handing out presents,
hampers and whatnot,
to children and to people who didn't have, it would be rather strange. Because I'll tell you what, for some 25 years, between myself and my daughters, we did, on Christmas morning, we did the presentation. I played Santa Claus. I was probably one of the first black Santa Claus way back when. But we gave out presents in the various hospitals around the world, and primarily so we look for patients who would normally not receive visitors or gifts from anyone. And the spirit, the spirit of in the hospital, the atmosphere, the environment was significantly changed, especially when my daughters sang. I mean, nobody sings like my daughters do, but, you know, it was significantly different. Why? Because here was somebody doing something completely different. Rather than going visiting your friends and people you knew, we went and gave to people who nobody normally would have remembered.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, George, there was an email here, and this email was from Carolyn. Let me see if it was Carolyn.
Well, just checking it out. I just want to apologize for I was off the air for a while for circumstances beyond my control. The technology was above my ability here to really deal with it. Yeah, so.
Yes, George, that email was from Carolyn. You missed it. And Carolyn was saying that Christmas is stressful because it is commercialized. The term happy, and merry, which are usually spoken of at Christmas time, happy and merry, she said that is more for the businessman, for the businessman's pockets. And I was extending that by saying there is some truth in what she had said.
I think there's a lot of truth. There's a lot of truth in what she's saying there.
Yeah. Because if you really look at it, where there is a demand, there will be a market.
Yes.
And when people want these things, then the businessman will provide them at a price.
Of course, and Yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah, of course.
And Christmas means that we are now going to fill our garners and we will have a binge. It is Christmas. I mean, and there's certain little, little ditties that you hear. Christmas comes but once a year.
Right.
And every man must have his share. And there are lots of things. We have some people who go around singing and thing at Christmas time. I think the term you used to call them scrubbers. And there was lots of little funny little ditties, Jesus, gentle Jesus, meek and mild. And, when the fellow goes on, he says, 2 rums for a man and none for a child. And they go to windows and begging. Quite a few funny little things, So Christmas time means carousing, having fun and merry making, revelry. That is what comes out. We can't get away from it. And even the people who go to church, when the church is finished and they come, now the big ball now has started. We're now going to have a good Christmas.
Well, John, I want to take you up on something. You said we can't get away from it. And see, if we could,
No, when I say we can't get away from, we can't get away from saying that it is different. That is what I mean. Of course you can get away from it by not taking part in it. But as is, you can't deny that is the way it bounces off the table.
And I would not deny that the peer pressure is on we adults. Peer pressure is not just on children alone. Peer pressure is on we adults too, because the whole neighborhood is doing it, the whole society is doing it, the country is doing it. So therefore, you now will find yourself caught up in the atmosphere.
Of course.
To do it.
It is like a current. I mean, and as long as you get into the swing of things, you will go with the tide.
And she did mention the commercial part of it.
Yeah, you're over the waterfall like anyone else. And you remember my saying that a number of people spend money that they haven't got.
That's correct. That's correct.
To purchase things that they don't really need.
Yeah. And that's why she had to mention the commercial part of it.
To impress other people that they don't really like.
A couple of weeks ago.
It is you, I mean, this is in keeping with what you said, that it is contagious. I can't be left out of it. If the others are doing it, I must be doing it as well. And I'm seen like a sore thumb. I'm a Scrooge if I don't do it.
That's correct.
I like Bing Crosby. I like Bing Crosby on when they used to have 45s. It was on the flip side of White Christmas, and it was called The Spirit of Christmas. And
that's correct.
You see, he makes the point when he says, it's not the things we do at Christmas time, but the little things we do all year round. He says the gift you send this man at Christmas time is not going to take away the pain and hurt he suffered all year round when people ignored him, rejected him, trampled on him, ripped him off, and did things to him that they shouldn't have done. And then they come at Christmas time and send him a card and think they've wiped the slate clean, all is well. It is not.
Only to resume your norm
after Christmas.
After Christmas.
No, John, remember I and you had a discussion about that tune. I tell you that is my favorite Christmas tune.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember
the Spirit of Christmas.
Yes, the Spirit of Christmas. Yes. And I like what he said.
We got one from Monkey Apple, our regular boy, and Monkey Apple. Monkeys, a very good evening to you. I believe you are in the evening zones. And we have your email. We want to wish you all the best for the holidays. And he says here, Christmas is a stress reliever. The stress is waiting for Christmas. The stress is waiting for Christmas. Thank you, Monkey Apple. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Very.
well, that's yeah.
That's true too.
Well, it's only all
That's true. Anticipation.
yeah,
Yes.
anticipation. Yes, the kids. Well, I know. I know the kids are gonna caught up in that stress because recently my friend told me that she buys her toys for her children, and she
Right.
can't.
You're looking forward to
Yes.
the big bang. You know?
Yes, so she said she's not gonna show the kids the toys. Because she said if I show them this toy, I don't have any place in the house to hide it. They will dig up until they find it. She said, they don't know what they're getting. They don't know if they're getting anything. She said, I said, you should just tease them and say, look, this is what you're getting, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. She said, no, I can't do that. She said, there's no place in this house to hide this. You know, that kind of excitement. So they go through stress too. Because they can't wait.
Anticipation.
Yes, but you know, John, I remember I give you. There was a joke there where there was this Jewish and a Christian guy, boy, two young guys were discussing the Christmas, and the Christian was trying to convince the Jewish boy what he's missing out if he don't celebrate Christmas. Mm-hmm. And you know, he pondered it a bit, and he said, well, you know. He said, well, the Jewish said to the Christian boy, Christmas I have to work hard. You have a good time and such, you know, and you do all the nice things. But at the end of Christmas, all our warehouses are empty. And we go to the bank singing what a friend we have in Jesus.
Like true.
Because of Jesus, yeah.
Yes, you know, so you mean you spend a lot of money for Christmas and so on. But I want to take up a point that Mr. Cyrus was making before, and I want to take up that when we come back from. Is it time to go for a break yet? And now we need to give those numbers out a bit more often. I was told yesterday by a listener that those numbers need to be given out. The lines are up tonight and running. Right, so we want to.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
just an email coming. Okay. So we want to, but we promise in the new year we try to sort this problem out that we have with the lines. You know, these lines are not, it seems not too reliable. But another reason though, another reason why the lines are down, I realized too, is because of the season, there's a lot of calling and the switchboard are probably overloaded and getting busy. I think the Christmas, you know, but hoping that in the new year we get this problem with the lines sorted out. But what you could do in the meanwhile, you can still get us reach us by Skype, and our Skype contact is ccvradio. You add ccvradio to your Skype contact, and you can surely come in, and you could get us. You could get us on Skype. So in the meantime, to keep your email coming in, you understand there's an email there, we'll get to it in a while. However, before earlier on, so Cyrus, we talked about the children. We talked about the barrel. Now we have a term we use here: children in the barrel, or child in a barrel. Mm-hmm. That is parents who go abroad for a better life, and the children have to go and live with their grandparents or aunt or so. Mm-hmm. Because their mother would have gone abroad, or their father and a single parent, and they would have to live with a grandmother or relative. And what they do, they send these barrels like once a year, 3 times a month, particularly around Christmas time. And that's all the interaction that they have with the parents. They talk on the phone or such. And from a result of that, I don't know any figures, any statistics for this, but you have a lot of these kids now going astray because of this authoritative figure is not home. they somewhere out in the States, and they just keep sending these barrels so that the sneakers and stuff with it, and they look forward to it at Christmas time. And I think the parents out there think that they're doing such a good job because they're sending these material things for the kids, you know, so they have a good Christmas and so. But in children, in fact, when you hear the end result, the kids, in many cases, they will drop out of school, they will get themselves into trouble and all this sort of thing, and they become rebellious against a stepmother, stepfather, grandmother, grandparent, and aunt, and these kinds of things that we have from the result of this.
Well, in my work, you encounter these in the community where, for instance, the parents go to England, Canada, America, and they start another family there, forgetting this other family that they left in the Caribbean, and the only ties they have with them is that, and I say it without any hesitation or reservation, some people get annoyed by it, but in order to appease the guilt that they have, they send these barrels and these birthday gifts and things like that, sending dollies and trucks and cars and all kinds of stuff, you know, as toys for the children. But they never send a letter saying, Johnny, I love you, I miss you, or, you know, you come and join me next year, or you come on holiday. None of these things happen. And then what happens is this also, that the children then that they get in England or Canada or wherever they are, they never tell them about anything in the Caribbean. So you've got these two worlds living separate, these two parallel worlds, you know, passing each other like two ships in the night, never meeting. And many times, when the parent goes back home after several years on his or her own, he doesn't take any of his family with him from back there, to find that these children that they left home are no strangers. And there's a conflict between them because the child doesn't want to know him or her because they feel abandoned, and sometimes the grandparents or the aunt or uncle with whom they live are not very nice. Some of them are very abusive, some of them are very horrible, and they live only for those barrels and whatever trinkets that come. And because so they keep the child, but only for those trinkets.
Right, because even the grandparents and the aunts and so many of them have certain situations that they themselves have to deal with, and you know, come and place an extra burden on them. Right. And even for this, for this Christmas season, when now they have to stretch the dollar around in terms of getting stuff for the house. Your parents didn't send any money. She promised to send a barrel. She didn't send any. That's right. You know. And so long she said it doesn't arrive. So long she said the barrel coming. Now it's Christmas time. I have to buy ham. I need to get paid. You understand? I have my 2 children and stuff that I have to mind all it too. And this kinds of frustration comes out in the Guardian that you would have left, whether it's an aunt or grandparents or so. And this is where the abuse come in. And sometimes
exactly,
it's not that the person is really an abuser, but it's that they don't know how to deal with the stressful situation, and they come and it's a sort of way of getting back.
Circumstances have conspired against them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they're not really abusive, but it is because of the stressful situation, they don't know how to deal with it. And they deal with it in the only way they know how, coming out. But then things are not willfully, what you may call, done to the child. It's just that in their hearts, they're very, very good people. But because they're faced with the situation, they probably they have not trained from a professional point of view to handle situations like this, how to deal with it, and in dealing with, and sometimes they make the situation worse, sometimes they make it worse, but it's not deliberate in a sense, yeah.
Okay, we got an email.
Okay, let's see it, yeah.
Okay, we got an email, and this is coming from Linda. Thank you, Linda, for your mail. And Linda says, Christmas is joyous. I enjoy giving presents to less fortunate kids. The Christmas spirit surrounds us at the church service. The Christmas environment depends on us, the people. She says, Christmas is joyous. I enjoy giving presents the less fortunate kids, and the Christmas spirit surrounds us at the church service. The Christmas environment depends on us, the people. I want to agree with her there. Yes, she maybe in her particular case, it is more like what it ought to be, but we could never judge a society by the doing of one individual. And there are so many individuals who do other than that, that we need to look at where the trend is. We want we want to thank you, Linda, for your submission, and you are an example. And when man on earth has done the best, I dare the angels to do better. And if you do that, someone may follow you.
Well,
you've done something very, very exemplary.
Well, I know it's time coming up for a break, but I agree with. She said the key word there, it depends on us, and that's really true. And while we dealt with all the stressful part of Christmas and all the negative effects of it, I will be the first to admit there are situations where it really brings joy to your heart. If you give a gift to an underprivileged child, or you give a hamper to an unfortunate family, and you see the joy that it brings out in them, I tell you, it lights your heart up. It makes your day up. Recently, I am a part of a Lions group, and we had a party for children, a kids party. There was one particular guy who couldn't come. For some reason, his mother has, it's very difficult for her for transport because he can't walk, and he's speech impaired, he's really disabled, and she faced some challenge with transport. But however, he goes to a special school, but I did put aside his gift, and while waiting for his transport, because where I stopped out on an afternoon to come home is where he will be waiting for his transport to go home. And I took the gift out of the bag, and I gave it to his mother, and his mother gave him the gift, and he was he was ecstatic. He was really, really, really happy, and I felt good to see how this little child was just overjoyed. He didn't come to the party for some reason, but he still was able to get that gift, and that made me feel good, So there is some positive things about Christmas. There's some people, it brings out the best in a lot of people at Christmas time, yeah? Even if it's just for Christmas. And but we talked about that some earlier on, the Christmas things you do all year through, and not just at Christmas time. But yeah.
But you know something? We could have Christmas every day of the year.
Of course.
We could have Christmas every day of the year. For instance, you know the number of children that are out there looking for foster homes for foster parents? By fostering, a simple act of fostering, the joy you bring to that child every day of the year. We need beds, for instance, for respite care, where you're taking a child or an elderly person or something for a day, a night, a week, while the normal caregivers take a break. I mean, these are things, and they don't cost anything, really, other than the ability to give some love. And that can be an everyday experience, which brings Christmas into because we were foster parents for 15 years, and we fostered all kinds of children. Our average daily household was somewhere between 8 and 10 children. And the amount of joy that it generated and the laughter in our home on a daily basis, I said, this is, with all these children, and by the way, we foster children who had disabilities, special needs children. Where people said it was very difficult. But I got great fun and great joy out of it. Because the pleasure, at the end of the day, when you tuck a kid into bed, and that kid gives you a big hug and says, "You're the bestest mommy that I've ever had," or daddy I've ever had. There's nothing, listen, I didn't care how much they pay me for any job I ever did. That did nothing compared to a child who smiled at you at the end of the day. Or when you reunited a child back into a home that was previously a dysfunctional home where the child was, and it returns to mommy and daddy, and mommy and daddy have now turned the corner, and they're now extending love to that child. When that child gives you a big hug, man, there's nothing in the world like that.
But I'll tell you something, you know.
Okay, John,
Hello?
stick up in. Yeah, stick up in. Let's remember that point, because I want to zero in on that part of the discussion. So, but it's time to take a break. So remember the point that you're going to make, because I'm going to let you resume. As we come back, you're going to resume from where you're going to respond to Sarah. So, okay? Remember your point. So let's take a break here now. Yeah. And,
okay.
So for a break.
Tell it as it is, with your hosts, Leon George and John Galman. Real talk, real issues.
Thank you and welcome back. Welcome back to CCV Radio. And once again, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. And in the discussion that we have, we are looking at the effects of Christmas, that it really takes the kind of toll that it takes on our family and society and so on, and whether we celebrate Christmas in the way we ought to celebrate it. But just before we go for a break, John was responding to Cyrus a while ago, and I want John to continue without his response to Cyrus earlier, just before we go for that break.
Yes.
John?
Yes, Cyrus was making the point that there are a lot of children out there who are really hurting. And if we could only allow our imaginations to ramble, to get to understand what they're feeling. And at this Christmas time, when it is this lot of giving, if we could single these children out, and not only at Christmas time, but be there for them, they would be so happy. We would make so many of these children happy. And I must agree with them. I remember in my thing, my area as social work, I had a situation where, and this had nothing to do with Christmas, but it brings out children who hurt. I had a family. These two, there were 3 children. They were all by the same mother, but fathers were different. The mother took sick and had to be away from them. And these children were grown children. I mean, we're talking about in the 20s. They had not seen their mother for about 14 years. And the mother died. And as the social worker, it was my duty to find these children and let them know that mom had died. And I went to different places where I learned that I find them where they were working. And I brought the news to them. And for the first time in 14 years, those children saw each other. They had lost contact with one another and didn't know where to find each other because of broken home and whatnot. I am telling you, as a social worker, you're not supposed to become emotionally involved. By that I mean, you don't break down and cry and that sort of thing. But I still think that the shedding of a tear, if a tear ran down your cheek, it says something. It doesn't say you're weak. It says that you are really feeling what they feel. When those 3 children saw each other, you would have thought that they were told that they had won Vernon Pool or something. There was a gripping and a squeezing, and they cried openly, having not seen each other in 14 years. They didn't even know where one another had been. And it was at that point that they were being told, your mom is dead.